Israel took a very aggressive position on the side of Azerbaijan against the Christians using American tax dollars to do it. So Israel was a participant in this war?
The participation in Israel was the support of Azerbaijan by weapon. And it was a part of real politics. But you know the problem?
What kind of weapons?
So everyone, welcome to Facts Uncensored. We're gonna go through how much this dude, what's named Tucker, lies. He is spreading basic false information, and I think this is a big problem. Let's check it out.
Made us to be unite and to save our culture was the church and education from the church.
Yes.
The schools that church was built all over the country to educate us to be Christian and to be an Armenian Christian.
I was and remain confused by the role of Israel in this.
So before we get into the video, I want to go into see how much Tucker Carlson actually cares about Christian genocide right now. This was 5 days ago. This is Tucker Carlson on the genocide going on in Nigeria.
Ted Cruz is upset about what's happening in Nigeria to Christians. I'm not against him being upset about that. You say it's much more complicated than
Much more.
he's presenting. Probably more tribal than religious. I don't know much about it.
Did you just hear him? He said it's more tribal than religious. Islamists is actively genociding the Christians. And actually the Islamists came out to protest against Trump. And, that is not about religion when it is. And yet he somehow tries to make it all about religion. So I just wanted you guys to see for yourselves what he really cares about, Christian genocide or not. But let's get back into it.
In this war, Azerbaijan, Islamic nation versus Armenia, Christian nation, and the cleansing of Christians for Nagorno-Karabakh, that the region you just mentioned, Israel took a very aggressive position on the side of Azerbaijan against the Christians using American tax dollars to do it. So Israel was a participant in this war?
So, see, this dude, the fact that Israel took a very aggressive position on the side of Azerbaijan is bullshit, simply because Israel was neutral when it came to this war. So it's impossible for Israel to take an aggressive position, which never happened. They always remained neutral. And the sales that they had was only from 2013 till 2020.
The participation in Israel was the support of Azerbaijan by weapon. And it was a part of real politics. But you know the problem?
I also wanted to add, there's one thing I forgot, right? So there was no U.S. tax money involved. U.S. aid to Israel is restricted to purchases of American-made defense systems for Israel's own security. By law, Israel cannot use that money for exports. And also, the religious framing is false. Israel's relationship with Azerbaijan is strategic, energy, and counterterrorism. It's not anti-Christian. It keeps making it about religion.
What kind of weapons?
Drones, like aircraft and other. It's like not just defense.
I also wanted to add, I don't understand why they're singling Israel out. Do you know how many different countries were selling weapons to Azerbaijan? Did you guys even look to see who the number one people are? It's like Russia, Turkey, Belarus, France. I don't see you guys mentioning them at all. And they were the top people that were selling the weapons to Azerbaijan. And yet, for some reason, Israel is getting singled out.
And attack
But offensive weapons,
offensive
Azerbaijan
weapons.
received from Israel.
And the drones, many of drones, and many of the were operated by us. We have read in media by operators from these companies of Israeli companies.
Wow. So you.
Okay, you see, that's another lie here. The Israeli Air Force, the Azerbaijani Air Force has trained crews for years to operate these systems. There is no credible reports from Reuters or any other place that says this, right? So the drones were Azerbaijani operated, not Israeli piloted. Selling a system does not mean that Israel is operating it. And mind you, they sold them this before they even knew there was a war, right? From 2013 to 2020, they didn't sell them weapons during the war. But maybe Russia did and Turkey, but they don't want to talk about that.
You think there were Israeli drone operators?
Yeah. Because as many media told, like it was in many magazines, and that.
So that would mean that Israelis were killing Christians in this war with U.S. tax dollars. I mean, because the Israeli defense sector is supported billions and billions a year by the United States.
You know the issue.
You see, once again, Israelis were unaliving Christians with U.S. tax dollars is completely bullshit. It's completely false and inflammatory. Israelis did not fight in the war, right? Israel was neutral, and there was no American money funds Israelis' exports, right? Even if they did. So America has nothing to do with it. The conflict was territorial and not religious. Armenia is majority Christian. Azerbaijan, majority is Muslim. But the war roots were in Soviet era Muslim borders, not faith. So the phrase that Israel and America is funding the killing of Christians is emotional manipulation, not factual reporting.
Issue is about the real politics. They are getting gas from Azerbaijan. Gasoline. They buy gasoline. I think the 70% of Israel gasoline is coming.
Okay, once again, claiming that Israel buys 70% of its gasoline from Azerbaijan is bullshit. That number is overstated. The Israeli Energy Ministry data and trade reports show about 30 to 40% of Israel's oil comes from Azerbaijan. Israel diversifies imports from Kazakhstan, the US, and other suppliers. Azerbaijan is one of several key energy partners, not Israel's sole lifetime. So that 70% is a myth, because they want to push a certain biased narrative.
Coming from Azerbaijan, and they have some type of economic ally. They are allies economically. The main issue is today, real politics sometimes is like make a big problem for the nations who wants to defend themselves alone. In the regions, we are minority.
Yeah, I mean, of course, and that's how the world works. I just suppose from an American perspective, it's like, why are my tax dollars being used to murder Christians around the world, cleanse the Christians from Iraq, cleanse the Christians from Nagorno-Karabakh, murder Armenian Christians? Like, why am I paying for this?
It is a
Azerbaijan's military or Israel's defense exports to it. In Iraq, the violence against Christians was caused by ISIS and sectarian militias, not US or Israel. This lumping together of the war's classic propaganda bullshit, using unrelated tragedies to emotionally indict Israel and US together. In reality, there is no connection between American taxpayers, Israeli arms trade, and the suffering of Christians in Armenia or in Iraq.
The problem. It is a problem.
Problem for me.
Yeah.
How often do you give a present to a loved one that deep down
Israel to be the fault of Christian persecution? Nobody is talking about, right? Everyone is singling out Israel about its partnership with Azerbaijan. They had, strategic partnership with Azerbaijan. They had partnership with Armenia as well. Israel remained neutral, right? They had different partnership with, they had different things to offer each other. With Armenia, it's technology and services and other things. But nonetheless, singling out Israel and trying to say that Israel was funding persecution of Christians, it is absolutely insane. You see, Tucker Carlson, instead of talking about the active G-side against the Nigerian Christians, right? Instead of talking about that, if he actually cared about Muslim Christian persecution, he talks about Armenian persecution that happened a while ago, that this war actually just got resolved. Azerbaijan and Armenia, they had peace, right? They made peace thanks to Trump. And now his focus is on that, but not that it's on that, not on Christian persecution, but only to blame Israel for it. Somehow he tried to make it Israel's doing, that whole Karabakh war, when Israel actually was the one that actually came out and said something about the displacement of the Armenians. Israel always remained neutral. So this is completely crazy. Nobody mentions about all of the weapons that all of the other countries majorly sold to Azerbaijan. Israel was not its biggest weapons sellers. It was actually Russia, Belarus, France, and Turkey. But these are not being mentioned. The fingers are all being pointed at Israel, and Israel is being blamed biasly. And Israel had nothing to do with that war, and neither did America. So this whole thing, this dude keeps on using his religion. He keeps on saying Christian, 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 when he's just using it to bash Israel. Tucker Carlson needs to stop using his religion, right, to bash Israel. It is wrong. And I think we all know why he does it, is because he is Qatar bought, and this is his main focus right now, right? Is to put Israel down, and even to blame Israel for Islam's war on Christianity. That's how far he has gone, and we all could see the bias in in this. If he wants to be real, talk about Nigeria, talk about Sudan, talk about all these different countries where Christians are literally being ethnically cleansed right now as we speak. And yet they want to shift the focus all to Israel. It's all Israel's fault. It is insane. Thank you all.